Quinn's Post, the Neck and Lone Pine, these are names that are now synonymous with the Anzac spirit, but not because they represent great military victories, but because they represent a defiant ability to stand firm against overwhelming odds. You see, for 3 months after the landing in April, very little ground had been taken by the Allied troops. So plans were now being drawn up for what was to be called the August Offensive. This was a bold plan to break out in the region above the Anzac position, in an attempt to once again take the high ground. You can clearly see on this map the reason why these hills above Anzac position were so important in controlling the waterways of the Dardanelles. Well, the date was set for the 6th of August, and over a 48-hour period, major coordinated manoeuvres were to take place, each depending on one another to bring success to the campaign. The first was to be at Lone Pine, yet looking at a map, this shows us that Lone Pine is not where the August Offensive was to take place, that is, not up the north. Well, you see, Lone Pine was what the military call a feint. That is, a show to take attention away from the real fight that's about to occur. And the next feint was at this place called the Neck, and I'll take you there in a few minutes and explain that one. The main story of the August Offensive was an extra 20,000 British troops being landed to the north at a place called Suvla Bay. The 4th Brigade of the Anzacs would go north, and together with these troops, they would wheel around to take the high ground. It sounds great on paper, but sadly, it was just another Gallipoli disaster. The charge at Lone Pine happened the day before the charge on the Neck. So standing right where you're looking now, the camera angle is looking, is where the guys from the Australian trenches could see and oversee, certainly with telescopes, exactly what was happening down at Lone Pine. They would have seen that charge and in a sense seen its victory, seen that Australians did take the ground. So they'd have determined to do the same thing here at the Neck and rush across this into the high ground. And of course it was doomed to failure because of the two completely different kinds of battlefields. I'm standing at one of the most infamous places in Australian history. It's called the Neck, and it's very hard to get the perspective through a video lens of what's each side of me. There's a valley down this way, there is a valley straight down this way there's a valley straight down, and this is just a narrow neck of land behind me that joins the top of this ridge, Walker's Ridge, first ridge, to the high ground directly behind me. Ever since that brilliant movie in the early 80s by Peter Weir, the movie Gallipoli with Mel Gibson, ever since that movie, the name The Neck and the understanding of that battle has become kind of, I guess, a part of history, a real strong part of the connection with Gallipoli. Most people who have seen that movie, it gets to them. But it's interesting, in the time leading up to that, the word the Neck was not really pushed that much. One of the things in the movie is it kind of tends to make you think that it actually was the British leaders who sent us to the slaughter at the Neck. But of course it wasn't that. It was Australian leaders who made the fatal mistakes and then made the even worse mistake to not call it off at the time that they should have. The guys left these trenches right behind me, and they were aiming at the high ground, which can be seen in the distance behind these pine trees. And it was the day after Lone Pine. So you're talking about the death of over 200 guys, and I think the figures go up to 400 casualties on that day. It's just unbelievable, and it's no wonder it's been a negative part of Australia's history, although we still see now in it the Anzac spirit, the spirit of these guys saying, "Goodbye Cobber, God bless you," and literally climbing a trench to certain death.